Hi everyone, I'm Celinda. I'm a director at Visa on the employee experience team, currently working at the intersection of culture, branding, and strategy. I've spent over 15 years working in employer brand or recruitment marketing, but I actually started my career as a recruiter and even had a very short stint as a sourcer many, many years ago. So everything I'm going to talk about today comes from being in it, finding talent, engaging talent, losing talent, and trying to figure out why some things work and others don't. Today, I want to talk to you about something we don't spend nearly enough time talking about in recruitment marketing. We talk a lot about sourcing, building pipelines, application volume, tools, and tech, all very important. But we talk less about what actually happens when someone raises their hand, tells you they're interested, the gap where conversion is won or lost. I'll do my very best to leave 5 minutes for Q&A at the end, but if you put your questions in the chat, I'll promise to come back and answer them right after I'm done. So let's start with what we do really well. Most of us are very strong at identifying talent. We know how to source, we know how to assess, we know how to build pipelines quickly when the need arises. Make no mistake, we're very good at building lists of qualified people. Where things start to break down is what happens the next time we reach out. Because in many cases, the people we're contacting aren't strangers. They're silver medalists, they're past applicants, they're people who interviewed 6 months ago, people who attended that event or the webinar, people we spoke to about a different role last year. But yet, when a new requisition opens up, we're often approaching that outreach as if it's a brand new interaction, a new message, a new pitch, a new context. From our side, that feels very efficient. From their side, it feels like the relationship has been reset entirely. Which means every time we re-engage, we're asking them to do the work of reevaluating us, who we are, what we represent, and whether this opportunity is worth their attention, all over again. And that's the disconnect I want to focus on today. When we talk about conversion in recruitment marketing, we usually mean hires. And yes, that's an absolutely great outcome. But in practice, conversion is really about reducing the amount of uncertainty someone feels as they evaluate whether an opportunity is worth their time. There are 3 things happening here. First is understanding. Do they know who you are as a recruiter, as a marketer? Not just your name, but how you work, what kind of roles you tend to fill, what the kinds of teams you represent, and whether the opportunities you tend to bring them are credible and aligned to what they're actually looking for. Without that baseline, every outreach feels like a cold start. Second is preference. As they interact with you over time, whether through an email or a message or an event, or even past interview experiences, are they starting to associate you and your outreach with relevance? Do they begin to recognize that when you reach out, it's usually about something worth considering? Preference in this case isn't about liking a brand. It's about lowering the mental effort required to take your message seriously the next time it shows up. Last and definitely not least is action. This could be applying, but more often it's a smaller signal. It's replying, it's staying engaged, it's taking your calls, it's asking for more information. And honestly, it's simply not opting out to hearing from you. Each of those moments reduces the amount of reevaluation required the next time you connect. So conversion in the context of today's conversation isn't a single decision. It's a cumulative effect of multiple interactions that make the future decision much easier for the candidate to make. Look, I know email isn't your shiniest tool in the recruitment marketing toolkit. Most of us, if not everyone on this call, is experimenting with far cooler things, whether it's in-person events, finally, social, automation, even some AI cool things that are out there. But here's what email does that other channels can't or won't. It allows the recipient to engage on their own timeline, not yours. A LinkedIn message will show up in the middle of their workday. A recruiting call interrupts their afternoon. An event requires them to carve out time before meeting you in advance. But an email can be opened later. It can be reread, forwarded, compared against other opportunities. It can be discussed with a friend, a mentor, a partner, or simply left alone until the timing feels right. And that's important because evaluating a career move is rarely an immediate action. It's something people come back to, sometimes days, weeks later, when they have the mental capacity and space to actually consider you. So email doesn't just remove the friction for us as recruiters and marketers, it removes decision pressure for them as candidates. And when someone has the ability to engage without urgency, they're more than likely to engage thoughtfully, which tends to lead to better conversations when they do respond. So we're going to jump into like top 3, my perspective of what makes an email convert. Number 1 is relevance. And relevance in 2026 has a way higher bar than it used to. It's not enough to just personalize an email with someone's name. Every email should be relevant to the person receiving it. Let's say I joined your talent community for marketing roles. The first email you send me shouldn't be a generic company overview with copy about every single award you won in 2025, or even a list of every open job on your career site asking me to do the work to go find a role I'm interested in. It should give them something that feels intentional, something aligned to why they showed up in the first place. If you're doing this right, you have some sort of intake form at the front end of the process, or maybe you spend 30 minutes actually reviewing the profiles of each person before you email them. However you do this, you need to make sure you understand the preferences. This is also where AI, and I know we said this was a drinking game, so go ahead and drink. This is where AI actually earns its place, not as a shiny feature, but as a way to help us be more relevant at scale. When someone fills out the intake form, joins your community, or even interviews with us, you have their signals. So leveraging AI to make sense of those signals so our communication feels considered and not generic. One of the best recruiting emails I ever received came from a recruiter at an unknown company to me. I wasn't interested in the role or the company or even making a move at the time. But he took the time to tailor that message. It felt genuine. It had so much data about me as a person that he clearly found online. He took the time to relate himself to the role, to me, and ultimately my experiences and preferences. Shout out to Eric. I think about that often. But real talk, candidates are willingly telling you how they want you to engage with them, what they like, what they dislike, where they hang out. Use these bits of data to really be a lot more tailored in your messaging. Number 2 is clarity. And clarity to me is about respecting people's time and what matters, and that's what matters the most right now. We're in a market where we're seeing real job seeker fatigue. Candidates are overwhelmed. Recruiters are overwhelmed. Everyone is getting more messages than they can possibly respond to. We're all competing with each other for attention. In a world filled with spam texts and emails, you do have a real opportunity to stand out. This is where brands like Amazon are incredibly effective. Have you ever searched for something specific like a light bulb or black boots, but you haven't bought it right away? Well, Amazon doesn't just send you everything in their catalog. They send you that thing each time with a new approach until you finally decide to buy the black boots. Oh, wait, maybe that's just me. I don't know. The point here is that they're specific, they're tailored, they understand their audience. So if I'm looking for black boots or a role in marketing, don't send me black sneakers or a role in engineering. This doesn't mean you have to change your content completely, but you can still send your brand new shiny EVP video that's created for all, but make sure you tailor it with the top drivers for that specific audience. Recruitment emails often try to do too much at once. Apply now, read this, explore this, attend our event, watch this new video, meet with me, follow our socials, learn more. You get it. It's a lot. The intention is always good, but the results are quite confusing. When everything feels important, nothing feels actionable. Not everything has to be a newsletter. While newsletters do have their place, and I say this because all of the talent community emails I get are newsletters. The reality is most people don't have a lot of time to read long emails. And think about how your favorite brands communicate with you over time. They're short, they're focused, clear reason to engage. Think about the mobile experience. I have an iPhone 16. It's a massive phone, Pro Max. If the email I'm receiving requires more than 3 scrolls, you're probably not going to get something out of me. So this is pretty obvious. Don't bury the lead. Clarity means focusing on one audience, one message, one action. And we do this by acknowledging that everyone's time is limited. 3 is momentum. Every email should move someone forward. If it doesn't, it's just noise that can be quickly silenced or forgotten. Momentum doesn't come from sending more messages. It comes from designing communication that builds on itself over time, instead of restarting the relationship from zero with every single outreach. Each message should feel like a continuation of an existing conversation, even when the conversation is happening across different channels and moments in a person's career journey. Your goal is never to drive an immediate response or transaction. The goal is to move someone from understanding to familiarity to preference to eventually an action when the timing is right for both of you. This progression rarely happens in one touch point. It happens through a series of signals that reinforce what it's like to actually work here, how the work gets done, what someone can expect in terms of growth and experience over time. The whole premise here is you want people to naturally opt in, but also opt out. When our outreach is designed with that in mind, email becomes less about announcements and open roles and more about strengthening memory and trust. Over time, those small moments of reinforcement reduce uncertainty and help people make more confident decisions when they're evaluating where to invest their skills and energy. This is very important, not just because every role that's open today is not going to be open tomorrow, and not every person is ready to move right now. But when we consistently communicate in ways that build continuity and reflect the lived experience inside your organization, we create a foundation that makes future conversations easier, faster, and more aligned to the opportunity when it does arise. So this is where things start to fall apart. We lose people when emails feel irrelevant, when it's obvious the message wasn't meant for them. Links to open roles in a location I'm not close to, unless they specifically told you they're willing to relocate and mention that. We lose people when emails are overwhelming, when they ask for too much too often. My favorite brands like Real Beauty or Fenty may message me daily, often multiple times a day, but you will not catch Selena Gomez or Rihanna's marketing team selling me mascara, lipstick, and body lotion in one email. Knowing we have a lot of men on the line too, let's think about Home Depot. Home Depot is really good about tailoring their power tools email to you. They are not selling you a grill and a hammer. It's about making sure you understand your audience and you send them the things that they've expressed interest in. We lose people when there's no clear next steps. When someone reads the email and doesn't know what to do next, they usually do nothing, or worse yet, they unsubscribe, which is fine. Make it easy for people to unsubscribe. We also lose people when there's no human behind it. No reply email addresses make it hard to take action. Sometimes candidates want to talk to a recruiter and it's hard to take action. So sometimes they want to unsubscribe. And like I said, it's really hard to figure out how to do that too. If they can't do either, they disengage and then we lose trust. Industry benchmark tells us that about 22% of responses, we're only getting about 22% of responses from all the emails we sent, and less than half of those are actual responses from candidates. So it's not a very high volume, and this is like all companies. So trust me, you do want responses. You do want to be able to make sure you're formulating a two-way community to interact for the right time at the right time. At some point, This stops about being an outreach strategy and starts being about how decisions actually get made. And people don't make career decisions because of one really well-written email. They make them after a pattern starts to emerge, after they've seen enough to recognize what your organization values, how people are treated, how growth really happens, whether the work feels meaningful enough for them to invest their time and energy. Most of that pattern recognition happens long before someone ever applies. So the opportunity in front of us isn't just to fill roles, it's to influence how our organizations are understood over time, to shape perception gradually through communication that's grounded in reality, not urgency. Because when someone eventually reaches the moment of change, whether it's this month or next year, they're not starting from scratch when evaluating us. They're making a decision based on what they've already come to believe. And that's what allows hiring to feel less like a persuasion in the moment and more like alignment when it counts. Thank you so much for your time today. I genuinely care about this space and the work that we all do. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'll do my best to share useful content there and answer all questions one-on-one.